Also align your AI recommendations with your business goals, the right prescription for optimal results. Our session includes a comprehensive change management checkup, providing strategies to facilitate smooth AI integration with minimal disruption. We'll balance immediate relief with long-term health, helping you achieve short-term successes while ensuring sustainable AI implementations in credit management. Discover how to manage organizational change, particularly with reference also to training and process adjustments to support AI implementation. And finally, we'll emphasize the importance of upskilling your talent, the therapy needed for successful technology adoption and creating new career opportunities. So very good morning to everybody. Just before I introduce our very special guest this morning, just a quick bit of housekeeping. As you've already seen, we are recording this session today. This is for CPD accreditation, continuous professional development. You'll get a certificate for this in the not too distant future. And for those who want to see the video recording again, it will be available in our members section. So if you want to see it again or you can share it, we'd ask that you become a member, basically. So so that's that. So on with today's event. I'm absolutely thrilled to. Before I do that, sorry, one more thing. Just to get the chat going, this is a very interactive session. We'd like to have your comments coming all the way through, comments, opinions, agreements, disagreements, and so on. And just to kick off and warm up, we have a chat question that's down here. So the question is yay or nay for AI. So are you in the AI camp? Do you agree? Are you with it? Are you supporting it? Are you working with it? Or are you not that keen? So thank you, Brad. So are you not so keen and you're a bit skeptical and you're still sort of nah, not yet. So so as we go through, like I said, I'm now delighted to introduce our guest today, Bertrand Mazur from My DSO Manager, sitting there in beautiful Grenoble in France. Bertrand, I'm going to hand over to you now, sir, to introduce yourself, take us through the first 15 minutes or so, and then we want lots and lots of reaction from our audience today. So over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Good morning. I'm Bertrand Mazur from France. I've been a credit manager during 15 years, and then I co-founded My DSO Manager, so credit management software, in 2015. So 9 years ago already, and so I'm very happy to be here to talk with you about digitization, about AI in credit management, all this technology that change drastically our job, but for I believe for good reasons and for good things, because we'll see, and I'm sure that you experience already that with these technologies, with these tools, we can go much better in credit management. We can provide our companies with much more added value. So that's very interesting for credit management function, even if it's a huge change. It's very quick, so it can be we can feel not so comfortable with that, of course, but it provides with a lot of new opportunities on personal aspects, on tools that we can use, and the combination of tools that provides some unexpected result, and some result that we could not think that they were possible just a few years ago. So very happy to be here. So My DSO Manager in 2015. So we are today, so we need to update the figures because it's about 1,800 customers everywhere in the world. My DSO Manager is a natively very international software managing 170 languages. Very easy to implement. We will see more about that, and with customers of any size, from few million euro sales company to dozen of billion euro sales companies that deploy MyDSO Manager worldwide with and who benefits of all the capabilities of MyDSO Manager, but take advantage of all this digitization and that's changing completely the game and the job of credit management. Yeah. So just some figures. So about MyDSO, 128 billion euros covered, managed in MyDSO and paid in MyDSO after actions done in MyDSO Manager. So on last 12 months, just to show what MyDSO manage. Of course, MyDSO Manager is a SaaS software that covers all credit management parts, I would say, credit risk management, collection, dispute management, forecasting, consolidation of data at group level, everything in real time. These are some key aspects of MyDSO. And I believe one of the key added value of digitization, the real-time aspect. It's changing everything, maybe much more today than what provides AI nowadays. We'll see that digitization, it's not only AI, because we talk about AI and it's incredible what we can do with that and how fast it's going. However, it's we should not focus only on that, because it's digitization, it's much more than AI. It's a combination of technologies and of capabilities, thanks to the sharing of communication, to the possibilities to aggregate data from a lot of systems, and that's what MyDSO Manager does. Yeah, next slide, please, Mark.
Yeah.
What we'll see today is first point, we'll talk about implementation of a credit management software. I don't know if you have used the last version of ChatGPT. It's even at a personal point of view, it's very interesting. If you have some Excel files of some files with a lot of data, then you can, in few seconds, get very deep and very concrete analysis. If you have to do it manually, it will take hours and days for a result that certainly won't be at the same level. So these technologies are so linked with the word efficiency. So that means that when you had to spend hours or days to do something, sometimes now in few seconds, you can do the same. It's exactly the same for a credit management software. Regarding the functionalities, what you had to do that would take days in the past, you can do that in few seconds, or it can be at least completely automatically. But it's the same also for credit management software implementation. It's if you have to take 6 months or 1 year to implement the software, so it's completely disconnected from this reality of digitization and AI. These technologies are associated with speed and relevant tasks. So for the first point is what we talk about is about that implementation and speed of implementation. In MyDSO Manager, we have developed a module that is called Smart Upload that allows to get data from any system in the world, from any ERP, without formatting some files. You know, a credit management software needs to get data from the ERP, from the CRM tool, from many systems, in fact, but mainly the basic are to get customer data and receivable data. And for that, to set up this interface, it has to be updated daily or several times a day to have the software always in line with the accounting. So this is a basic, and this is key. However, if yes, Mark, please.
Just jump in there, Bertrand. When we were rehearsing yesterday, going through this, we were we were discussing that, as you were just saying, different legacy systems, different ERPs, CRMs, and so on. That it's possible to actually implement your systems within a couple of days, right? So, which I think, you know, when we're looking at what's available in the market these days, I think that's something I'd like to expand upon as we go through today, to expand a wee bit on that, how it can be done fairly quickly. Yeah.
Yes, as with ChatGPT on your Excel file analysis, it's so much quicker and better in the same time. And with Smart Upload module, so that's why it can the quicker implementation we did with a company with a turnover above 100 million euro sales is few hours. It's because don't need on customer side, there is no need to create some files at MyDSO Manager format. It's just some basic extraction that include all the data required from the ERP, from the CRM tool or the accounting software. And Smart Upload gets the data, recognize each type of data. It takes into account any format, any encoding format of files, and everything is updated smoothly in MyDSO Manager. So this is why the implementation can be so fast, so quick. It's also linked to the fact that MyDSO Manager is a 100% real-time software. So that means that the interface can be run at any time during the day, several times a day, so that the sync between the software and the ERP can be done at any time, even on big volume of data. We can get from our biggest customer huge files with, for example, for the open items, it's more than 1 million lines, so 1 million invoices that are uploaded into MyDSO Manager. It takes, for this kind of files, just a few minutes to be uploaded, and then everything is updated in real time. So this is the first key point for me, from my point of view, of the added value of digitization and AI in credit management and credit management software implementation. So it's the speed of implementation, because no one wants to spend 6 months or more, several months in a credit management software implementation.
I think that's a good, taking that point, I think we have a voting question. So SD, if you could just put the polling question up on the screen, please. And we want to ask everybody to give your opinions or your experience, actually how long it takes how long you think it takes, or how long you've seen how long it takes to actually implement a technology project. So the options are, you can see on the screen there now, would you think it would take, or it's taken you up to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12, or more than a year? Right. So we'll just give that half a minute or so for all the responses to come through.
Agility is a keyword in credit management. We are a function in the middle between finance and sales. So working on a big volume, so we need to automatize a lot of things, but we need also to adapt according to some specific situations, some specific customers. And so agility is really a keyword, I believe, in our job. And it must be the same for the credit management software. If you have to spend a long time for an implementation, you get something that is rigid and that is very complicated to change, to update, because it will take, again, a few months. If you are working with a system that can be updated very easily, very quickly, then, of course, it is much more evolutive. We all see the incredible speed of the evolution of AI. That means that we need to adapt always, every day, every month, every week, almost every day, we have to adapt according to this evolution. So if we have something that is rigid, it cannot work. And it's not in line with this revolution that we experience today.
So you seeing, Bertrand, you see on the voting here that we've got a fairly we've got sort of 20% 0 to 3 months, 15% 1 year or more, and then what we got around about 30 plus 30% 3 to 6 months and 6 to 12 months. So quite a the majority takes quite a long time. From your perspective and your company, are you seeing that companies are perhaps coming to you because of what we're seeing here? It's taking an awful long time to implement, to set up, to to get to the start line, if you like. So it's what are you kind of seeing yourself from responses like this? Because most of the responses here are from major corporates.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because it's quite classical to have some IT project that takes a lot of time. And there are two key points, I believe, is that the first one is when we are credit manager spending months and months to implement a software, it's not really our job. So we have to manage account receivable of our company, of course, first. And then the second point is we need to be evolutive. When you need if you have to take some months to set up a software, you cannot be evolutive, in fact. So it's too rigid. So the speed of implementation, it's due to the agility, to the flexibility, and this. Yes, please.
I was going to say, is that I think that this is something that we wanted. We come across a lot in Callisto, and there's a lot of talk about AI, right? And which is quite right. It's here to stay, and it's going to be here for the future. But in many implementations, whether it's AP or AR or whatever it is, it is some of the cases where they're perhaps thinking it's AI when it's actually machine learning, which is not the same thing, not necessarily the same thing. Yeah, I think there's a big difference there, isn't there?
Yeah. With Smart Upload, it's both, because there are Smart Upload is learning based on all the implementation done with MyDSO Manager, and there is an intelligent recognition of the format of data on the for the mapping between the columns of the files and the fields of MyDSO Manager. So it's I would say it's both. And there's one other advantage of that, speed of implementation. It's then evolutive, and it can be deployed everywhere in the world. So we don't need to have some consultants in Brazil if you want to deploy a customer in Brazil, So it's really facilitating, even if for big corporates, because in big corporates, we may have some big entities and some smaller entities. If you have to spend 6 months a project on smallest entities, you won't do that, because it's too expensive. It takes too much time. Thanks to this kind of approach with a Smart Upload and associated with real time, then of course, it's more affordable because on our side, we spend much less time. We don't spend also on our side 6 months to deploy a customer. So it can be much more quicker. So it's less expensive for better results. If you subscribe to a ChatGPT, it will cost a few euros. I think now ChatGPT 4.0, it's even free, you know. So it's not linked to the cost. In IT, the cost is not linked to the quality. Maybe if it's very expensive, it means that it's a gas factory, and then you have to pay for something that is very heavy, very rigid, and that is not in line with the evolution of today, of what happens today regarding digitization and technologies, and it's not in line with our job of credit management how it is today. So there are only advantages on speed of implementation, and it's not limited to have your credit management software very quickly. Because, of course, everything is linked. If you look at my DSO, this flexibility, this agility, you will find them also on the functionalities on the setup of credit management functionalities inside the software, and also for the user. And I do believe that it's so important for credit manager and collectors.
I think another something else that we talk a lot again about in Callisto about, there's an awful lot of companies that are through acquisition or legacy systems, you know, have like more instances of SAP, let's say, or SAP and Oracle, and they will spend years, you know, sort of implementing and aligning the two together. Where I think, you know, solutions like this, you know, you just stick that on top, and you don't really have to do that, you know, sort of, and a lot of companies are going through S4 HANA transitions as well. And I do kind of question if that's absolutely necessary.
Yes, all right. There are always only benefits of agility. I often make a link with alpine style in alpinism, you know, to before a few years ago, in 20th century, if you had to climb a summit in Himalaya, you had to have 200 Sherpas, a very heavy logistic, and for a project that took 6 months to climb the summit. Alpine style is that you are much more powerful with advanced techniques, and it takes 2 days. In fact, you go up very quickly and you go down very quickly. It's done in 2 days. It's the same in IT project and for credit management software implementation. So it's of course more efficient, less expensive, and at the end, the result, the objective is reached more surely, because you choose the best moment to go to the summit according to the weather forecast. And it's exactly the same here, because in addition to that, we all experience IT teams in corporates that are very busy. They are focused on the ERP mainly, and it's quite complicated to make approved a project that will take months or years for a system that is not the ERP of the company. So it's also much more light on the IT side, and it's really an advantage. And as this agility allow to manage all these cases, as you said, the multiplicity of number of ERPs for corporates who make external acquisition. They, of course, they have to manage new ERPs, to manage legacy system, to change the ERP. So all this has some consequences on the credit management software. And thanks to this agility, this capability to adapt to the data that my DSO gets, for example, whatever is the ERP, it's done much more smoothly.
I think, but we'll go on to the next section now about sort of credit management principles and processes and so on. But just before that, through the chat, if that ask our guests, so how many are actually going through what we've just been describing, sort of ERP transitions, S4 HANA upgrades, and so on, and it perhaps is actually impacting your credit management processes. So I'd be keen to, if you could share your experiences through the chat, or if you want to talk about it as well, please put your hand up. We'd be glad to hear from you. Okay, so Bertrand, yeah, so let's look at the so AI digitization. How is it changing what we do as, and I think I should stress, when we're talking about being credit managers, we're talking about the whole credit collections, disputes, etc., not just the risk side of things, right? So we should stress that point, right? So what are you seeing in terms of change then from that digitization is bringing us?
Yeah, so we implement my DSO manager every month in new companies, and almost all these companies, the credit manager worked on their ERP and on Excel using Outlook to communicate with customers. So it's a huge change. Of course, it's a huge change because ERP extraction, Outlook, it's really the stone age of credit management today. And that means that the credit manager in this configuration has very limited a limited power, in fact, a limited capability to provide added value to his company. With the first added value of my DSO manager is to have all the information at the same place. So all information, that means customer data, account receivable, financial information data coming from providers, credit insurance data coming from comments coming from customers, from salespeople. So that means that at the same place, you have all the information you need, all history of information, all the KPIs. So this is already a huge change because the software is always up to date as it is in real time. All the KPIs are up to date, and so it's already a huge change. The second aspect is that all actors of a business relation are involved in my DSO manager. So because our customer benefit of an unlimited number of users. So that means that, of course, the credit team has access, the sales people, the customer care for dispute management and dispute resolution, the CFO, the CEO, any management function for the credit limit approval workflow, for example, for the follow-up of all the KPIs, and also the customers. They have all access if you want to give them access to their own portal where they can find in real time a full statement of account, the PDF of their invoices. They can interact with their collector. They can send some comment. They can make payments, for example. So this is the second step, where all people, all actors have access to the same system, but of course not the same rights, and to the information they need to make this commercial relation more fluent, more smooth. So the first, the key advantage is the improvement of the communication. In the past, we are a company, a seller, and we have 100,000 of customers. So the difficulty, in fact, in credit management is the communication. How to make sure that any account payable within my 1,000 of customers have access to the good information in real time, to the PDF of all invoices. So with my DSO, that's it. It's the case. So this is a huge advantages. And then regarding the functionalities, also, of course, with automation of collection actions, but automation, it's not a 100% automation because you need to adapt. So you need to be very accurate. Collection is communicating the good information to the right people at the good time. So to do that, yes, please.
I can just jump in there. I think what you're and I like what you're saying, because I think what we're really doing here is we're going back to the good old days, and I know some of the audience here are slightly more mature, shall we say, but many aren't. Yes, Brad, and but so all the things you're saying are all the disciplines that that these are the classic credit control disciplines, if you like, and we discussed before in Callisto that sort of through the 2010s, when interest rates were zero, the eye was taken off the ball with many companies, and they so having overdues and so on and a high number of disputes wasn't that big a deal, right? And now, because interest rates are going up again and we've got such a volatile world right now, and that's reality, by the way. That sort of volatility is normal. That all the things you're talking about are all the things we should be looking at all the time. And the advantage of the AI and the digitization is we can gather huge amounts of data, and we can analyze it and send it to different people. You're saying sales guys and customer service and the C-suite and so on in rapid time, right? And I think that's the real advantage, isn't it, of doing what you're doing, is that we can respond very, very quickly to good stuff and adverse news as well, late payers, slow payers, etc.
And you may not have the need to send them information because they do have access by themselves. So it's not necessarily to push information to people. So the people have access to the information they need in real time. One other example for corporates, multinational companies, with the corporate platform, there is a consolidation in real time of the data and KPIs of all entities, whatever is the ERP, their languages, their currencies. There is a consolidation in real time to have all KPIs, DSO, cash forecast, aging balance, of course, at group level to get the exposure of a global customer, of a worldwide customer in real time. So this is some things that was not possible in the past in this kind of group, this consolidation in real time. But I would like to come back regarding the interconnection, because there are a lot of players who use AI technologies in our market. Financial information providers for their scoring, credit insurer, if we talk about credit risk management, and softwares. But what is the real added value? Is it to have only your AI that make a scoring, or to aggregate all this information on a single platform to take the advantages of all information coming from each provider that is built by AI and based on their knowledge. For example, on my side, even if I've been credit manager during 15 years, I'm not expert in building the same scoring that the financial information provider will do. Of course, it's their expertise, and they are very strong to do that, and they are working every day to make the best scoring, taking advantage of all the technologies. But what if in my DSO manager, you get the scoring of your super financial information provider, you get the guarantees, the scoring for the credit insurer, you may get some information from other players, you can have your own scoring inside my DSO manager, and based on that, you combine all this information to create your super scoring that will take into account this external scoring and your internal scoring that takes into account the reality of your commercial relation with your customer. You see, financial information provider, they can do the best scoring. They don't take into account the relation you have, your company have with your customer. So it's only half of the job. The second half of the job is your experience with that customer, your expectation, are you a key supplier for it or not, etc. You know all what all the criteria that we take into account to do this kind of analysis. But here, automatically, you create your own scoring that combine external information and internal information that may come from, for example, the payment profiles of your customers that take into account the payment behavior, the dispute resolution time. So you see, it's an example where digitization allow to do much more than, and if you have to do this manually without a tool like MyDayso, okay, you will do it on one customer. It will take you a half a day, and but you have thousands of customers. So at the end, so you don't do that. You cannot do that. So it's mandatory if you want to do this kind of tasks to have a tool that allows to do that, where you can update the criteria because, of course, you are evaluating in your mindset according to what you can do and how you want to make your own super scoring. And it's the same for, yes, please, Mark.
I think if I can jump in there, because and adding on also to the comment from Alexi here about sort of one of the advantages of technology is you can actually see when invoices are sent, if they've been opened and all that kind of thing. So the excuse of, so what I'm saying here is we can really, a lot of the things you're describing they're not rocket science. You know, the practices that you're talking about, these are good basic credit control functions and so on, a lot of which has got lost, particularly in the transition to shared services, where people have been kind of put into silos, you know, and you just work in these little bits. And what you're talking about, and this is how it should be, and this is what Callisto talk about, this is what we do in our training and coaching and so on, is that it's a whole holistic end-to-end process. It's not just one thing. So to get the most out of my DSO manager, it's essential that everybody working, the operators, the people at the coalface, that they have a very good knowledge of business, not just a process, right? So training, and this is what's meant by upskilling, right? It's not enhancing one process even faster, even quicker. It's actually understanding the business, right? You know, and the whole kind of where credit control actually starts at the point of buying raw material, right? It's a long process. So I think that one of the secrets of the success, say, is upskilling the whole O2C credit team, right? So sorry, carry on.
Yeah, but you're right, and that means that it's changing the job of credit manager, and of course, it's increasing the level of credit managers who become maybe also a data analyst, you know, and with these tools, and they can also create some models, very dynamic models for credit risk, for collection, thanks to digitization and AI technologies. So we have developed for a functionality that we call the search and assign, that allow to do this kind of super scoring and very advanced technologies, advanced scenarios for collection, you know, based on multiple criteria. Then the actions that will be triggered will be much more accurate, in fact, and in line with the best action that we have to do, because in collection, it's always the purpose is to do always the best action at the right moment. And for that, if you have thousands of customers, of course, you cannot do that manually. You have to create your rules, and based on this kind of functionality, you can have this result of always doing the best action, and thanks to digital communication to provide your customers with always the best information. But one point, yes.
Going on to the next point, sort of, um,
Oh.
where does the initiatives come from within your company? What feeds your constant development? And I think perhaps just before you answer that bit, anecdotally, without quoting clients and so on, what kind of key improvements are you seeing in a short timeline? I mean, you're seeing, obviously you're called My DSO Manager, so we're focused on DSO. Are you generally seeing across all that nearly 2,000 clients you've got now, are you seeing a rapid improvement in DSO? You know, and so there's the ROI, if you like. Yeah. So just anecdotally, without quoting specifics.
Yes, of course. The first point is the DSO. You know, so we won't open the door of talking about the DSO indicators with a lot of credit managers here. So we may talk during days. But with my DSO manager, this KPI, the DSO, it's not the same. It's not the same indicator that you may have in the past, because in my DSO, the DSO is calculated in real time by customer, by group of customer, by profit center, by on an unlimited number of perimeter. So you create a new portfolio for a new collector, you can get the DSO on this portfolio of customers, even in the past, because everything is calculated in real time. So that's right, we can follow with a very good accuracy the evolution of the DSO and other KPIs, because there is not only the DSO, of course. And what we see, the example I have in mind is a big corporate that we deployed a few years ago, and who made an improvement of 30% in the DSO, which represent 1 billion euros of receivable, of cash. The improvement was 1 billion euro of receivable of cash.
Okay, look, I got an interesting question here, and perhaps I can't quite see the name, but the question is, please help me where the AI comes into this. So we're talking about processes and improvements and digitization and so on, and the question is, where is the artificial intelligence? Do you want to the question asker? Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit as well? Sort of, based on your own experience, are you kind of asking what's the difference between digitization and AI? You know, if that's your, is that the kind of the question? I think it's probably good to reiterate that, sort of what do we really mean by artificial intelligence, and what do we mean by digitization or macros or RPAs or things that have been going on a long time. I think it's if we can just stay with that for a couple of minutes, and like you said, and none of us here are AI program writers or whatever, technical side, but what is the artificial intelligence that's coming into play here? And I think perhaps we just reiterate on that. Yeah. It's a great question, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you to ask this question. And it's not easy to answer to that, because this term artificial intelligence is used for everything, and we can a lot of it's a magic word. In fact, if you have to create a startup today, just you need to put AI in your PowerPoint for your business plan. If otherwise you won't get any fund. So it's not so easy to say, and it's changing so fast. For some people nowadays, AI is only generative AI. Everything that was done in the past, you can put it in the trash. So it's I don't have the exact answer. What I can say that on our side, we do have a specific AI. So for Smart Upload, for example, it's a specific AI. It's not a generative AI, but it's specific to this purpose, to connect any ERP to my DSO very smoothly. We use one point we have not talked about is the quality of data. almost all corporates experience this issue of quality of data, of customer data, on account receivable data. In my DSO manager, we have developed a dedicated module that is called Insight to highlight any issue on data, on customer data, receivable data, payment allocation not done, missing. It can be very basic sometimes, missing some contact information, and then my DSO will adapt according to that. For example, if there is no email address, very basically, of course, there will be a phone call triggered to collect to make a collection action and to get the email address, and then automatically, dynamically taking into account this criteria, but also many others, based on all information in my DSO manager available, the next action will be adapted accordingly. So this is some kind, and there are within my DSO manager, what is there today, and what will come, because our particularity is to have developed ourselves, my DSO manager, so we master all aspects of my DSO manager, and that's why it is very evolutive. So there are a lot of evolution, and so we do have some project, one project with the generative AI, but I would say it's very interesting. It's very interesting, and it will be more interesting in a few months because it's changing
all the time.
Yes, yes. So, but we should not focus only on that, in fact, because
if I can just jump in there, Bertrand, there's the point being made to ask you more about the AI side of things. I think so. The question being asked here is, AI could, if possible, set priorities on collection actions, who to contact first. Absolutely, yes, and that's been going on a long time. That's nothing new, right? That's fairly standard in technology. Setting up workflows for collectors every day, strategies, and so on. That's been around for technology-wise. That's been around for like 10 years or more, right? That's a fairly well-trodden path. Where the AI comes in this particular point is going a stage further, where you have bots that can actually do the first correspondence. And I'm saying this because I was talking to a company yesterday who are going down this very road in terms of debt collection, and they've got bots that are talking to people, right? And they're actually very sensitive. They can respond to different moods, different voice tones, and so on. So I think that's the AI bit, right? So the basic functionality you're saying here about setting workflows and priorities, that's nothing new. But the AI bit is the things that Bertrand is describing, the sort of what's going to come next, how systems can be more intuitive, right, and more sensitive to individuals, different cases, different clients, different size of clients, and their markets and their individual challenges. So that's where the intelligence comes in. Perhaps another example, if I may. Couple of weeks ago, I shared this with my team on LinkedIn. There was an example of how some guy asked ChatGPT to write a PowerPoint, to write the code for a PowerPoint presentation for him, and it actually wrote this code that you copied into PowerPoint, and there was a process to read this code, and it turned it into a full PowerPoint with colors and words and phrases and bullet points and everything. It was all done in a few minutes. And I tried it myself a couple of weeks ago, and I just asked ChatGPT to write me a program on presentation skills. I was just kind of testing it, and in 2 minutes, it gave me 13 slides, 5 bullet points for each slide, and actually then transferred it into PowerPoint and said, "Bosh, there you are." Right. So that's artificial intelligence as well, and I would recommend to everybody, because I think there's a lot of, we don't actually kind of already know, I certainly don't, what do we really mean by AI? And there is some cracking stuff on LinkedIn that I comes across. I pick it up most days. I see some. I'll start sharing on my personal LinkedIn when I start to see things about AI. but also there are some useful courses, LinkedIn Learning courses, just to give a basic understanding of what it is and what you can use it in very general terms, not just in credit terms. So I think this presentation is probably going to raise as many questions as answers, and that's good, because I think we all need to really ask ourselves, what do we really understand and mean by AI, and the difference between digitization and RPA and all the other words and phrases that have been sort of bandied around these days, right? We've got another question here. What are the basis on which AI prioritized customers to collect? That really much depends on your own personal company strategies, right? I know that myself. You can kind of set your rules for your customers, right? And that's one of the beauties of working with solutions like MyDSO, as opposed, say, to SAP or Oracle, ERPs. They are very flexible and dynamic, and you make it what you want it to be, and the users can make the changes themselves. Is that? I guess that's your case, Bertrand, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's very important from my point of view to understand that AI is a tool, but it's a tool that's going so fast that so it's difficult to have a very fixed idea on that. But it's just a tool. So that means I will not use a bot to AI bot to call my customers in B2B business, in credit management. I will never do that. But maybe in future, because it will change, it will evolve very quickly. And but we all get some calls like that for commercial approach, and every time I get upset with that, it's very frustrating. So there are some limits of AI. This is the problem of the wording, artificial intelligence, because we think about movies, about science fiction, and it's difficult to have a very balanced understanding of what it is. So, but just I think we just need to consider it as a tool. And for example, about collection action, of course, AI will help to trigger the best collection actions, but according to your strategies. It's not that AI that will decide by its own what is the collection strategy of your company. It cannot, in fact. So it's the credit manager input is absolutely needed, and it will remain like that because your company has its own rules, its own specificities. Your customers, it's the same. So it's really a balance. Just consider it as a tool. If you want to build a house, you need good tools. If you do it only with your hands, like using Excel and the ERP and Outlook, it will take a lot of time, and the result won't be so good. It's exactly the same. So just consider it as a tool that makes the credit manager better and providing with much more added value to its company. So
I
I think
can
it's
just jump in
important
there again.
to have that. Yeah.
Sorry, so we've got another cracking question here, and I think this really encapsulates what we were saying just now about bots and interacting with humans and so on. I think so. The question is, how can we use AI digitization to proactively fight against or to improve cash flow issues and so on and so on. I think this is the question to ask when you're looking to do a digitization of whatever level, right? Is what is it we want to get out of it, right? And that's the absolute question to ask, which then leads to the upskilling of the talent and everything we were saying earlier, because the answer to the question largely is that you can, depending on where you are at the minute, if you have a high value of overdues, you can say, right, we want our DSO to go down, we want our overdues to go down. So first of all, you kind of set out what your objective is, and then all the processes and the strategies that you want to use, you can actually do this yourself. So it's a great opportunity to go right back to basics and to ask the question that you got here: what can we do to get to where we want to get to? Right. That will often need consultants, outside experienced people. Shamelessly, I'm going to say people like myself and so on, but there are many others. But that's where the technology comes in. And if you're working in a shared service center environment, at the point that Bertrand has been making, frequently, is capturing huge amounts of data, right across many countries, many industry verticals, business units, and so on. And then, so in a shared service center environment, you're actually getting closer to doing what the whole idea of shared services was to control the whole of EMEA, or whatever region you're responsible for, under one roof, right? And these technologies allow us to do that. If we continue to work in country silos and so on, we're never going to achieve it, and the technologies are not going to give the full bang for their buck that they can do, right? So the question asked there is the question. Let's go back to the beginning and say, right, where are we? What do we do? What do we want to get to? And how are we going to get there, right? So that's a super question. Thank you very much for that. And sorry, Brad, you said we need, yeah, exactly. We need to know the difference between AI, what we can do with it, right, for productivity and today and tomorrow kind of thing. Yeah, productivity and creativity. Absolutely, yes. There's a lot of misunderstanding and fear, I think, as well. So I know Bertrand and I are very strong in our opinion that none of this technology is going to replace people, right? We absolutely categorically think you, Bertrand, I know we're very passionate about that, aren't we?
Yes, because of course, digital tool allow to increase the productivity and the efficiency in the same time. But more than that, it's increasing exponentially the added value of the credit manager. It's putting the credit manager in the center of the village, but for that, he needs a tool, he needs a digital tool that communicate in real time with all stakeholders of the customer relation. And so the added value is much more than the productivity, we should not think only on focusing on reducing the number of collectors. It's very limited. In fact, the improvement in the financial improvement of decreasing the number of collectors from 20 to 10. Okay, for a big corporate, it's very limited comparing to all the added value in cash, in profitability, in customer satisfaction, in the brand of the company using a tool and using it well. And what I can tell you that today, I don't know what will be the future in a few years, but today you need to have a good user, good credit manager, whatever is the tool used. AI technology does not replace at all the credit manager. It's exactly the contrary. Just consider it as a tool, as a powerful tool. But I would say in this revolution we experience today, it's 80% to 90% of the new added value that is provided with digitization, with using digital tool that allow to improve exponentially the communication with all stakeholders. Then the AI is increasing in this part, of course, because it's so powerful and it's evolving so fast. It's absolutely incredible. Since last year, since ChatGPT, the possibilities are huge. And of course, in my DSO, we are always thinking about, okay, what can we do, but not to make AI on our website and say the software, AI-powered software, but to use it in a relevant manner, in fact, as a tool. So what is the best usage that we can do? So it's we have to open our mindset as credit managers, you know, because it's it's the difficulty, I think, for at least for many people regarding AI, is to open our mindset, because there are some things that are possible that were absolutely not possible and that we could not imagine in the past. But on the other hand, the risk is to think that, okay, everything is possible, but it's not the case at all. So it does not replace at all the credit manager. It's just a tool.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to stop there. We run out of time. The hour has flown by. And thank you, Bertrand, very much. Really, I think we've really kind of got people really thinking more now about what is this AI, how are we going to use it, where, like you just said at the end there, where are we going to go in the future? And we do have to open our minds to it, you know, and really embrace it, because it ain't going to go away. So we have a fantastic opportunity to make the most of it. And because I think the future is incredibly exciting. So so we need to wrap up now. So Bertrand and Yauda at My DSO Manager, thank you very much indeed for working with us and putting all this together. Bless you for that, for your insights. A few other thank yous to the tech team here in the studio for making it look good again, and sound and vision and everything. Thank you for that. To my team, Callisto team, for working behind the scenes we've had more than 80 people who joined us today, which is incredible, and we really appreciate that. So so bless you for that, all of you, for staying with us this morning, joining us and staying with us. And just to finish off, stay with us through the summer, Callisto Grand. If you don't follow us already, please follow us. We got lots of things coming up. We're running a summer school through July and August, different events for ourselves. We've got our conference coming in October, where we'll be talking about what we've been talking about today from all different aspects, but My DSO Manager will be there as well, so you can meet them firsthand. They're great people to meet. So come and join us in Prague in October. And that's kind of it, really. So from all of us, thank you. Take care. Stay safe. God bless. And as we always end with, Carpe Diem. Go and get them. Speak to you soon. Bless you all. Thank you.
Thanks a
Goodbye.
lot. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.